Hello, and welcome to our first expert session designed to help you make the most of Paraphrase's powerful features. I'm Candace Chapman, Head of Marketing. Thank you for joining us today. I think you'll be glad that you did, and you'll come away with some new tips to maximize the value of your subscription. We'll be guided today by our product expert, Florencia Russo, but you probably know her as Flor. Before we get right into it, I just have a few notes. You can ask questions at any time by submitting them in the question box on the upper right, and we'll answer as many of them as we can after the presentation. We'll be recording the session and we'll send you a link to the video via email in case you missed anything or would like to pass the info along to your team. And that's it. But I'd like to introduce Flor. While most of you know her, you may not know much about her background. She's a certified Spanish-English translator, graduated from the National University of La Plata, Argentina. She specializes in technical translation for the automotive, oil and gas, and technology sectors. A self-proclaimed tech enthusiast, her passion for technology began at age 15 with her first PC, which, if you remember, was a Compact Desk Pro 386. And with basic programming, she created her first computer-assisted dictionary, combining her love of language and innovation. Since 2017, Flor has delivered courses and workshops on digital tools for translators, sharing practical insights with local and international audiences. She served 3 years as president and is currently secretary of the board of the Association of Certified Translators of La Plata, where she also leads the Committee on Computer Tools, promoting the effective integration of digital resources into translation workflows. Her work bridges language and technology, helping translators enhance both efficiency and quality through smart use of digital tools. So we are so happy to have Flor on the team. Come on board, Flor.
Okay, hello. Hi,
Hello.
Candace. Thank you.
Take it
Thank you for
away.
your kind words. Hi, everybody. Welcome. I'm really thrilled to be here with you today. Okay, before we dive into the content we have for today, I'd like to quickly share a bit about myself, why I like this topic so much, and I'm so passionate about this. As Candace already said, I am a professional translator by trade, but I've spent my whole career trying to bridge the gap between technology and language, always searching for ways to get things done better, faster, and smarter, but without compromising quality, of course, because by heart I am a translator and a language lover. So that's been my mission for as long as I've been in this translation field. I'm really in love, I must say, I'm really in love with shortcuts, text expanders, OCRs, translation management systems, and well, of course, nowadays with everything that has to do with AI integrated in translation workflows, which is the queen at the moment. Today, as customer success manager here at Pairaphrase, I try to live out that mission I have by supporting users like you and helping you and your teams make the most of the tools you already have, of course. But something very important to be said, uh, while human participation in the translation process is still unavoidable and necessary, I also know that the reality involves heavy workloads, short deadlines, and a market that asks for more and more from us than ever. So we really need technology to work for us, not against us. So I think that's where Paraphrase comes in, because when we talk about Paraphrase or a translation management system, we are not just talking about translation itself. I mean, in the sense of changing the language of a document from one into another. I think we are talking about workflows. We are talking about processes and real-time optimization in this fast-paced multilingual world. So, human participation is necessary. Yeah. Otherwise, I think life would be quite boring or would probably go extinct. But technology is here to enhance our daily work, not to replace it totally, but to help us stay competitive, to be more creative, and to be more in control, to reduce the time we may spend in repetitive tasks, so as to get to the final product in a faster and better way, with a better quality, maybe. So, this is what today's session is about. Uh, it is we will deal with how to do more with what you already have. We will see some features that maybe some others that are new, but all of them that are made to drive serious ROI without upgrading or switching platforms. Yeah, everything integrated into a single platform, which is Pairaphrase. So let's dig into our topic today. Um, as you know, some time ago, before you knew Paraphrase, or myself before learning about translation management systems, we used to manage stuff manually through different platforms, different softwares, all at the same time: email, Google Drive, comments, Excel files, and everything was going forward and backward, and things were really difficult to get done in time. But now that we have these systems, this translation management system, we can have everything integrated into one single platform to have things done faster and smarter. So we will see how to take more advantage, how to leverage every single feature we have in Paraphrase. We are going to answer this question today. Are you getting full value from Paraphrase? So let's try to understand the true value of Paraphrase as this integrated system, discovering functionalities that might help us maximize our return on investment, and exploring all the new features that we have in the software. To start with, this is a very interesting feature, and it is actually one of the most underrated cost-saving features we have in Paraphrase, and it is the ability to reassign seats. We know that organizations tend to change over time. If you have, for example, you have an yearly subscription, or a plan for a whole year, you may have some roles changing in your school. You may have contractors that rotate, or you may have people who go on leaves, vacations, whatever. So you may need from time to time to switch users so as to cover those free seats, or those seats that are covered by one user who is not working any longer, or who is going on a leave, but you need someone else to work in that position. So this is about making your investment count, basically, because we know that organizations are usually in constant change, and let's be real, unused seats don't translate. So this is really simple to be done. You don't have to ask for help. It's very, very easy. You simply go to manage users in your account, and here you may invite as many new users as you need, so as to cover all the seats you have paid for in your plan. So just clicking in invite new user, you may introduce the email of the person you want to invite to use the platform, and send him/her an email. And then if you need that person to be changed by another one because of any reason, you may simply go to the little pencil under Edit and disable that user. Then you can invite a new user and following the same instructions, enable that one. Also, and this is important, you can assign roles here to your different users so as to delimit the permissions they will have. And last but not least, you can also assign groups. That means that you can have different people working or the same people working for different groups. And in that groups, you will have different translation memories and different glossaries that may be used according to the needs of each office or department. So, for example, if you have a communications office or a human resources office, and both of them translate documents into Mexican Spanish, English into Mexican Spanish, but the terminology they use is slightly different or they have a different style, and you want different translation memories or glossaries for each one, you simply create new groups for each of those users. Here you can create a new group and then you can assign that user to the group that person is gonna work for. So this is a very useful feature that sometimes is not leveraged, not really used, and I encourage you to start using it. Okay, let's move on. So, as I said, this is really easy to be done. You don't need any support, and you can really maximize active user access without increasing costs. Now, let's move on. Another important feature we have in Pairaphrase. You probably know the saying, you can't improve what you don't measure. And that's especially true in translation workflows. So when you're working across teams, departments, and different file types in multiple languages, it's really easy to lose sight of how the system is actually being used or underused sometimes. So without that visibility, it's really hard to justify your budget, to allocate resources, or even to show leadership the true value of the program or your projects. That's why Paraphrase introduced this usage dashboard, which is a really powerful tool that gives you real-time insight into how the platform is being used, by whom, how often, and for what. So whether you are reporting on ROI or identifying bottlenecks or just trying to figure out why a certain user is requesting 3 times more this language than this another language. So this is where you will find the data to check all that. I will show you where you can find all that information. If you go again to your account and click on User Audit Trail, you will be able to see who has done what and when. Yeah, really important. Also, if you go to the file time audit, and this is great to have a look at your return of investment, you will see when certain user translated what file, yeah, how much time that user spent editing that file, how many words it modified, and of course, you can also download that information for reporting matters. So this is really a great way to have everything under control when you need to um, to know exactly the value of your project. And the last but not least, we have recently introduced this piece of information, which is really valuable, that lets you know in real time how much time and money you have saved by using Pairaphrase as your translation management system. And this information is taken since the last renewal of your plan. So this is really a great piece of information to see how much money you are saving. Yeah, time and money, which are of course related. So let's move on. As you could see, this is really, really easy to track. You don't need to do many things, and you can use that data to support your staff for budgeting or to make even vendor decisions. Okay, so again, I love these kind of memes, so I use them all the time. Um, Something very, very important also about Paraphrase is that you can translate more but upload once. That is to translate multiple files on the go, on a go, um, in multiple languages. So, unlike other tools that make you upload files one by one, Paraphrase lets you batch translate. That means that you can drop in a number of documents of the 25 types we support in Paraphrase: Word documents, PowerPoint, Excel, XLIF, IDML, any SRT, VTT, many file formats, and you can massively translate them all together into one or more languages at the same time. So this is really a time saver for high volume projects. Imagine that if you have to translate file by file, language by language, that will take much longer than doing this all at once. Less clicking, less waiting, really way fewer headaches and way fewer crying in the process. I will show you briefly how to do this because this is really simple. Probably you know about this, but I will anyway, I will show you how to share the batches. You know that here we select the source language. We can select more than one language and upload as many files and file types as we want. Then, when we have the batch ready and translated, as I have here, you can share the batch as a whole, or, and this is really important for collaboration and for to keep order in the process, you can share each of the files with the user you want to review each one. So imagine you have all these files or this file translated into 6 languages and you have one reviewer for each language. You don't have to upload a file for the French reviewer, a file for the German reviewer, etc. You can upload all together and simply share each one here with the reviewer you want to work on that file to check the quality of the translation output provided by the translation engine you selected. So this is a great feature, and something very important also about this is that only the admin who uploaded and shared the batch can download the full batch. reviewers can only download the file that was assigned to them. So this is a way to preserve confidentiality, because you may be sharing a file maybe with an external reviewer to check that specific file, but you don't want that reviewer to have a look at all the other files. So only that reviewer will only see that file and will be able to download only that single file. Okay, let's move on. And we go on with features that really help us increase our ROI. Turn edits into long-term value. As a translator myself, I can tell you that before the existence of translation memories, the best tool we had was the copy and paste function. So when we had repetitive text, repetitive content, we could use the clipboard and copy and paste so as to avoid translating again what we had already translated. But then translation memories arrived, and they were really a game changer for translators. In my experience, I think it's one of the best inventions in the field. You know that a translation memory saves, stores all those translations that were already edited and approved by the reviewers, by the translator or the reviewer. So that will prevent from doing this repetitive task of looking again and again or translating again and again the same content. It's really a time saver. Uh, and also, we have the glossary functionality that helps enforcing brand language across departments or offices, and for you to keep consistency in your organization. Something that has to be taken into account: only human reviewed translations are stored in your organization's translation memory. So not only will you have your own content secure and stored, and nobody else will have access to that, but you will also have the possibility of making corrections or modifications or additions to your own translation memories and glossaries when you need. So every time you have to make a correction or a modification to your translation memories, for example, if you imagine you had this translation done a year ago and you used this certain terminology, but a year later that suffered a little change or modification, or you want to improve that translation, but you don't need to upload again your translation memory or to create a new translation memory. You can just go to your translation memories, the ones you have already created. Again, you go to your account and click in translation memories, and you can simply clean it from within. You can click on the segments and make any necessary modification you need to make. So this is really important. It helps you spend less time in repetitive activities and have everything always updated. Yeah. You can do the same with your translation glossaries. If you go to your glossaries, you can make any modification you want. then saving it, and you will have everything updated and corrected. Okay, so let's go back. These features will let you keep your language assets current, updated, and you will not need to interrupt your workflows every time you need to update something. So this is really important and something that I encourage you again to use. Another thing we have in Pairaphrase that is also really helpful is the ability to work in teams, to work collaboratively. Imagine you had to move back and forth with emails to ask for revisions to your team, to ask for changes, to provide suggestions, and anything you may need to communicate to your team. That will take several hours. But in Pairaphrase, we have the ability to work collaboratively when you have shared your file with a reviewer. From within the editor, the file editor, you can simply chat in real time with your team, and, for example, ask them to modify a word, update a segment, or whatever you need to communicate. Also, you can bookmark any segment you need people to check. So you can say, well, check segment number 5, segment number 6, segment number 120. And if you had bookmarked it, the user don't need to scroll down all the way down to the segment, but simply click on the bookmark here. And something that is really important as well is that you can track what everybody is doing by clicking in segment history. Then you go to the segment and you will see who made what, who did what in each of the segments that were edited. So, for example, if you see that, well, in this case, Florencia made this change, but I disagree, or I want something to be modified, I can bookmark this, go to the chat and say, oh, Flor, please change this in segment 1, because I saw you made this change. So this is a great way to work for teamwork, to work in a collaboratively way. Okay, let's move to this. This is really a delicate topic, an important topic, something that is really harsh sometimes: formatting, layout. So, as I told you before, and to be honest, some human tweaking will probably still be needed, especially when we deal with language growth or complex layouts. There are some documents, some PDF documents, InDesign documents that will require some human participation, intervention, or modifications, because we are dealing with, of course, with structures, with file formats that will complicate things when downloading files. Anyway, and I want to highlight this, you will be skipping hours of reconstruction work anyway. Yes, it doesn't mean that sometimes PDFs or some file types are hard, are difficult, and the layout is not perfect. But I promise that the time you will spend modifying or reconstructing that file will be much less than doing it manually from scratch. So I really encourage you using this platform, and check what you can do, and I will give you some tips for you to help formatting be preserved. I will give you some tips now. For example, I know some of you work with Canva export files because maybe you work with flyers or brochures or communication documents. And a tip I want to give you is this: whenever you have a Canva design, probably you will need that design in a JPEG or PNG or PDF format. But Canva gives you the possibility of downloading the file as a PowerPoint. So if you download this, for example, this template, this design here as a PowerPoint, the formatting, the layout will be kept. That way you will be, and also the text, the content, and that is important, because if you process that file in Pairaphrase, you will get a PowerPoint to be downloaded, keeping that layout, and then you will be able to save that final document as a JPG or as a PNG or as a PDF without compromising layout so much. Yeah? So this is a tip I wanted to give you. And something else we have recently added to Pairaphrase is the ability to upload and download PDF files without using the file editor. And that is used only to translate files and keep the layout. So this feature is focused on layout. And it is helpful when you deal with some PDFs with very difficult layouts, very difficult or complex formatting. And how you will do that? You have to go to your user. And remember when we talked about groups? Well, now you will be selecting none as a group. When you select none as a group, that means that you will not be using translation memories nor glossaries. You will be just translating a file with the translation engine you selected, whether DeepL, Google, Microsoft, and just download the file translated. So you will have a Word document, and you will need to make, if you need, modifications to the content in the downloaded document. But this feature, since it is focused to keep layout, will probably produce a better PDF in terms of formatting, but you will have to make content changes or improvements in your final document. Okay, this is brand new, so I wanted you to have a look at this. Anyway, one way or the other, I want to emphasize that Pairaphrase, when we talk about formatting, really saves 2 to 5 hours per file, depending on complexity. Yeah. So if you are handling dozens of files a month, it's really a major return on your time. Okay. So let's move on. Now, let's talk a little about security. This is a very important topic for all of us. In my case, for example, I am a certified translator, as I told you, and I work with personal documentation. I cannot share the information that is given to me because for ethical reasons. And I know that we have also some rules to be followed, some governmental rules such as HIPAA and FERPA, which must be respected and followed. So let's for you to know, and this is very, very important, Pairaphrase supports HIPAA and FERPA compliance, um, and particularly FERPA for its educational clients by operating as a secure directive-driven service provider under appropriate institutional agreements. So something that is important for you to remember is that only human-reviewed translations are stored in your translations memory, and they are available only to you. And whenever you translate something in the Gestin wizard, in the translate text feature here, nothing will be stored, nothing will be shared with third parties. Yeah. And this is really, really important because not all softwares, not all applications, not all um, systems that are available in the market respect compliance or confidentiality regulations so hard. Paraphrase also provides features to help meet those requirements, which are data encryption, access controls, audit logging, and especially agreements with the parties that are integrated into Paraphrase of no data sharing. Okay, if you have any, if you need to learn more about how to activate, to enable the two-factor authentication or anything else, or the Microsoft single sign-on, you can, of course, you can always send an email, and I will be happy to help you. Okay, moving on. Rapid onboarding and continuous improvement. One of the biggest differences between Paraphrase and other platforms is that it is really easy to use. There are no cluttered menus, no steep learning curves. We have just a clean interface, built-in spell check, and really intuitive tools that your team can start using right away. Also, we are always at hand. We are always ready to help you. Whenever you have a question, whenever you have a doubt, you can contact our support team. You can contact me, and we'll be ready to help you with any need you may have. Onboarding will not be painful. It will be really easy. You also have our knowledge base to have a look at it and learn step-by-step processes to do everything in Paraphrase. And we are always ready to receive suggestions and questions and whatever you need to communicate with us. Okay, and now, um, and this is where I get kind of excited because I'm really happy to be able to share this with you. We are working, we are working uh, in a customizable AI integrated in Paraphrase. So the idea is to have AI integrated in Paraphrase that actually speaks your language. What does that mean? We will integrate tools like Paraphrase GBT, ChatGPT integration, and your own LLM profile so as to allow you to guide the AI, generative AI, to speak in your organization's voice. That means that your translations will improve in time because that's what generative AI does. It learns from your inputs to provide better results. So we will have a sandbox that will give you a flexible space to test, tweak, explore, make your translation even faster, and to align everything with the needs of your school district organization. Yeah. This is really the future of translation, and it's really, really almost here. As you know, generative AI is changing the way we work, is changing the way we communicate with the world, is changing the world, the way we communicate with our teammates. So this is really a game changer, and it is coming soon to Pairaphrase as well. So remember this, as I told you before, you're never on your own. You will have access, permanent access to customer success manager, that is myself, which I am always ready to help you with any need you may have, to listen to you if you have suggestions or questions. You also have video tutorials to look at, very useful guides to help you master our features. You also have the knowledge base, and of course, live chat and email support. Don't forget to make use of all this that is already included in your plan. So, to conclude, as I told you before, we are dealing with a platform here that really provides cost savings that range from 50% to 80% reduction in translation costs, depending on layout and complexity of the files, of course, as I already described, but that definitely save lots of time and money. So we are dealing with a real workflow optimization, with batch uploads, formatting preservation, real-time collaboration, AI post-editing. So everything helps you do things faster and smarter. We also have a really secure and compliant tool here with a transparent impact, because you can track everything that is done by whom, when, what, with full control. And even more when we launch this AI and human synergy with our customizable AI, with the translation memory, glossaries, and generative AI integrated to reduce edits and boost quality. Okay, so as I told you before, always focus on this. Some time ago, myself as a translator used to do things manually, using lots of softwares, lots of platforms, going back and forward with emails and messages, and lots of things to get to a final product, to get to a good translation in a certain amount of time. Now we can definitely have things done faster and better. So let's leverage this, let's use it as much as we can. And of course, if you have any question, now I will give the floor again to Candace for her to tell me if you have any doubt, any question, and
Thank you so much for the excellent presentation, Flor. You covered every question that's been submitted has been subsequently covered. So I just had one question that was not covered because we didn't talk about it, which was our API. Someone mentioned they received an email about our API and wanted to know how to get more information about that.
Okay, great question. Yes, I think the best way is for you to send an email to me, so I can provide some more information about what the API is, how it works, and especially to connect you with our specialist in API issues, so you can get more information and the best information available.
Awesome. Thank you. Actually, I just saw another question come through. Wondering, can a person be part of more than one group? We were talking about groups.
Yes, of course. You can work in as many groups as you need. But of course, you will need to change the group every time you need to use, for example, a different translation memory. So if you go here, if you go to your user account, you can, for example, in my case, I have all these groups available. I can change it. So the admin always can change the group the user needs to work in.
Okay, but it's always one at a time because of the.
At a time, yes.
Okay, all right, great. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Perfect timing. Um, Thank you all for coming. I hope you benefited from our time together. And as Flor said, please know we're always available to help you to make the most out of Paraphrase. You can send any additional questions to Flor at florr@paraphrase.com, and she'll get back to you. And check out our resources page at paraphrase.com/resources, and follow us on social media to get the latest news and information. Thanks, and have a great day.
Thank you.